to enter a world of true crime. From cold cases to serial killers, missing persons, and more.
100% he did this.
I'd go off in the fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know.
My name is Jay. This is Guilty of Crime.
Hello, this is Jay with Guilty of Crime. I'm on here early today. I thought I would get this stream going. So, if I'm talking to myself, that's cool. I wanted to bring the Chad Doerman update and present to you Chad Doerman and what is going on with him. And let's talk about the updates, okay? So, the reason we're on here today, hello, Carly, and I'm sure people will follow soon. Chad Doerman confessed clearly, and we're going to show that. So if you don't know the case, Chad Doerman murdered his 3 children execution style. He lined them up and made them get on their knees, and then he shot them. Okay, that's real graphic. So there's a lot to this, but today the reason I'm coming to bring the update is because his murder confession was thrown out of court. Why would that happen, everybody? Let me go on here and show you this. Let me share my full screen here with you and see if I can. Yeah, there it is. So this man right here, and I'm going to show you the video. There's a couple mistakes they made, and this is why we can't get things out too early. Hello, Juror 13. We can't get things out too early. I know people always want to know what's going on with the case, etc., and the cops don't say things, but I'm going to say they should be doing it right, everybody. Chad Doerman, the police violated his rights. His murder confession was thrown out yesterday. He's an Ohio father accused of a heinous crime that was alleged confession we're going to see was thrown out by a judge. What happened was on June 23rd, Chad Doerman, which I just told you was arrested for the fatal shooting of his 3 sons execution style at their Monroe Township home in Ohio. The boys, aged 7, 4, and 3, were allegedly lined up by their father and shot. Ignore the last part. During his interrogation, Doerman confessed to the killings. However, his attorney filed a motion to suppress the confession, claiming that the police had violated his Miranda rights. They allegedly continued questioning him after he requested a lawyer. Judge just ruled yesterday. Judge Richard Ferenc ruled that the prosecutors could not use statements obtained during Doerman's interrogation. The judge found that police violated his rights by not properly informing him of his Miranda rights and to continue questioning him. The judge stated that Doerman unequivocally invoked his right to counsel. As a result, the confession is thrown out, everybody. So that's the highlights. You can see him over there. Cops have him in his first hearing. He was miserable. He was crying. If you know about it, there's the 3 beautiful boys there, his children. And, you'll see him a little bit in the video. There's him with his boys. So everybody hit that like button, please. Yesterday, we hit a ton of views, likes, subscribes. I got a ton of new subscribers. I'm passionate about these cases. The reason I'm bringing this to you today is because this sucks. When you watch this, you're going to see he clearly confesses. This is not even an interrogation video. This is just the initial police coming to the scene. The mom was holding one of the babies. Yeah, everyone's having techno. Am I having a confession for? Come on. Yeah. Okay. So Miranda writes, yeah, wow, it was a thing, everybody, and you're gonna see, you're gonna hear, you're gonna listen. This blew my mind because I watched this case. He's a family annihilator. He took his whole family out. He didn't kill his wife, but she got shot in the arm. She was holding one of the babies, and he took the baby away, and he murdered all 3 of them. In the process, she got shot, and watch what happens here. You're just like, if you haven't seen this, if you haven't seen this case, it's going to blow you away. And it blows me away that his confession got thrown out because of not crossing T's and dotting I's. And this is why it's so important that cops don't get too confident with what they're doing. Okay. So I'm going to come up here, take this screen up, say hello to everybody. Hello, Jackie, Carly, Jer13, and whoever is stopping by in and out. I know it's not 4:30, and I said I'd be on first at 4, then 4:30, but you know, it's a life I live, and I'm having some things going on at my house, and I work all day. So like and subscribe, get me going on this so that I can make more content, everybody. I'm doing this just to bring you the news of what's happening, and I have a passion for it. So let's watch this and see why the heck they would throw this out when this is not even the interrogation, everybody. This is literally not even the interrogation that I'm talking about here. So let's bring this up and show you what we saw from the get-go. So I hope they can use this in court at least, because you guys tell me if this is enough to convict him.
Shooter's on the porch.
Get him right here. You got him on the porch.
We've asked. That's the last place we've been told.
You show me your hands now! Stand up and walk towards us! Stand up now! Walk towards us! Stand up with your hands up!
We know we got a visual in the mail. Not showing his hands, not following commands.
Stand up now!
I'm not showing hands or following commands. His name is Chad Doerman. Chad Doerman.
I know, but we can't.
If people need first aid and he's not complying, and you know he's a shooter, shoot him.
We gotta find cover first. We ain't no good if we ain't safe ourselves.
The wife called it in, probably the neighbors as well. They knew exactly where the shooter was, and check this out.
We need to come from this side where we can see him.
They need to get the shooter. This is what they're doing. This is not the interrogation, but very damning.
We're going to approach from this side. We got cover. Right here.
6 number 29 and 63 type out.
Watch.
Show us your fucking hands now! Stand up! Stand up! Stand up! Stand up now! Stand up! Stand the fuck up!
EMS to stage and air clear. Go ahead and fly whenever any units can advise.
Get your hands out of here.
72.
Cover 21. It's in the air.
They blocked out the rifle, I think.
The shooter is not complying. They need to take care of the
I got it.
victims. They have to shoot him and shoot him.
Man, I ain't trying to hurt nobody. We're completely sober. Never did drugs a day
63,
in my
we're
life.
21. Get the EMS over here.
Well, I did drugs with a flip, but I don't do drugs now. I'm sober. I'm not trying to fight you.
63.
Get your butt inside. Yellen, get your butt inside.
We on primary?
Now.
29, we got 3 kids down.
3 kids down, 16 up.
Yellen.
63, we're 21. Have EMS respond over here.
They're blocking the kids that are dead on the lawn. He lined them up and shot them one by one, execution style. His 3 boys.
63, do you want him to respond to the Laurel Lindale address?
And then he sat on the porch and waited for the police
We're
to
right in
come.
the front yard.
That's the mom, everybody yelling in the background.
What are you doing, man?
Hey, pretty copy all this.
Can I roll over? I ain't gonna hurt you. I ain't gonna hurt
You
nobody.
got anything on you?
No, I ain't got nothing, man. Phone, that's it. I ain't mad. I ain't nothing. I think he'll bite you. Just don't reach for him and try to grab him and pet him.
All right.
He won't bite you.
What's going on, man?
Nothing. Can I stand up? It's kind of uncomfortable.
I'm going to
I
get
ain't
you
gonna
here
do
in a
nothing. I ain't running
second.
away. You can do whatever you want.
He just killed his 3 kids. No big deal. Nothing. He's not gonna hurt
Here.
nobody.
You the only one else inside the house?
What?
You the only one else inside the house?
Yep.
Sit down right here.
My daughter, she ran over to the fire department.
Sit down.
It's my stepdaughter.
Put him in the cage.
This is Will. This is Will.
Unbelievable. Worst evil, everybody. Worst evil.
Can you get the wallet out of my back pocket?
Shut up, dude.
Shut up, he said. Fuck
You
you.
have the right to remain silent and fucking use it.
You have the right to remain silent. Fucking use it. That's right. When you kill your kids. But those cops didn't do what was right later on. And it probably wasn't those guys that interrogated them either. So whoever interrogated them, they fucked up. That's the worst evil you could do. That and Stephen Stern's evil.
Hold on.
The firehouse is advising them that the male shot the entire family.
20 hour 37.
You're clear.
All right. I think they're just playing it again. Yep. There you go. Look at he's sitting there with a gun. You see that? No, I stopped it. Dang it. That's okay. He was standing there with a gun. You guys saw it the first time. I want to put it right back on really quickly just because whoever missed it in the beginning, you might not have seen that. Just watch. It's only like it's a short clip. So I came on early. Watch as they approach. Check out what happens. He's sitting on the porch with the gun that he just shot his 3 kids with. So really quickly, it goes fast.
Stand up! Stand up now! Stand up! Stand up! Go!
Oh yeah, there's a gun.
Get your hands out here. Come on, 21. It's in there.
All right, everybody. That's a lot. That's a lot. Whew, that's a lot. When I first saw that, that he just execution styled his kids and his daughter ran away. He did the boys because he wanted to get back at the wife. So he accomplished it, but his confession got thrown out. I think that's almost good enough as a confession right there, sitting there with the gun that just shot the boys. But that's not enough. I'm not the police. I can't say anything. So we're gonna watch more, of course, and see what happened, why the heck that happened. All right, so here's the bond hearing on what happened. We're gonna play that so you guys can see this is actually his first bond hearing. We got to lead up to the story, everybody. You got to see what happened if you haven't seen it. And we can come back with a part 2 if we need more, if I run out of time. But let's check it out if you haven't seen
State
it.
of Arkansas, Chad Doerman, 2023 CRA 1975. This matter is before the court today for purposes of bond hearing. Mr. Kelm, you were here on behalf of Mr. Doerman, Mr. DeCalvi, Mr. Gadd.
A bond of $75,000 for conditions to be put. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeCalvi.
Judge, at this point, I'm going to let Mr. Gast handle the bond on our behalf.
Thank you. Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
Judge, we've got law enforcement with us here today.
This is a first hearing, very first, and then I'll show you what happened.
Involved with law enforcement throughout yesterday afternoon and evening, all the way through this morning.
And the facts I have for you at this point are as follows. The trauma that this man has inflicted on his family, the community, law enforcement, first responders, and all of the rest of us who have any idea what's going on here is unspeakable. There's been a full admission in this case, Judge. The case is still new. We're still discovering facts. Incomprehensible cruelty. The father that stands before you lined up his 3 young boys, and he executed them in his own home with a rifle. They were ages 3, 4, and 7, Judge. In an act of desperation to save her children, the mother at some point grabbed the gun. The father was able to flee into a field near the home. And again, we know from his admission, father hunted that boy down, drug him back to the property, and executed him in front of witnesses. The mother was
Full admission, everybody. He fully admitted it.
shot in the hand in her attempt to protect her children. To just begin to imagine their fear. This was the man that every day they woke up looking to for protection, love, guidance in all things. Man they trust more than any other person on earth. Person they rely upon to keep them safe from harm. He was their world. He was their guardian. And he executed them in cold blood. We know that from his admission. One of the most monstrous, craven, cowardly acts that will ever be our misfortune to see. To make things even more disturbing, Judge, this was no haphazard act. Again, by his own admission, he planned the act on a whim. He's confessed to what I believe is the worst crime, at least I hope, that I'll see in my lifetime. I hope it's the worst fact pattern that ever comes before this court. Judge, it's important for the court to know, and Monroe Township Fire and EMS and other first responders bravely respond to the scene where they don't know what's going on. They did not know what they're facing, and they come into a scene that no one can ever be prepared for. No law enforcement training, no training of any kind prepares you for this. It's easy to forget that these are men and women with families, children, feelings, emotions. They're not some automaton performing a delegated function. They're people. Year-old children. They held these boys in their arms, knowing there was nothing they could do to save them.
Sorry about that. What I said was that at this point, he had already confessed, and he did this. They're speaking about for the mom, for the neighbors, for the EMS, for the police. They never saw any of this. They're never going to see something like this. And he did it in public, right out in public, so that the whole neighborhood and everybody could see it. And they're never going to be able to unsee it. So get a little more, and then you're going to see what happened yesterday, how they reversed the charges, or they didn't reverse the charges. They threw out the confession that right now they're talking about.
How long do those scars last? The day you wake up from that, and do you have access to a weapon? Yes, obviously you do. The weight of the evidence against the defendant at this point, Judge, we stand here with a full admission of the defendant. That also goes to the confirmation of the defendant's identity, and witnesses on scene did see at least part of what happened. Next, the court is to consider the likelihood this person would return the court if a bond were issued. Again, this is the most heinous crime with the most severe penalty under the law that we presented to grand jury. That alone would be a major factor in discouraging a person from availing himself to this court or any other. And the thought to flee and the likelihood of flight is great in the state's opinion. The danger he poses
All right. So you guys can see this disgraceful man. And today we don't have hours. So I want to get through this and just bring you the news that his full confession got thrown out of court. And you're going to hear why right now. I wish I could hang out longer, but it's one of those days, and that's what I brought you here for. And I know people want me to get to it. So that's what I'm going to do. This is what happened. This man did this. You saw it on video. And yet, that's still, you got it. The cops have to do their due diligence, everybody. And that's why we don't hear everything.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. We have some brand new developments in the case of an Ohio father accused of murdering his 3 young sons. A judge has ruled that Chad Doerman's confession that he allegedly gave during his interrogation will be thrown out. On Friday, the judge ruled that the defendant's rights were violated twice when police skipped parts of the Miranda warnings and when detectives continued questioning Chad Doerman after he asked for an attorney. Doerman could face the death penalty if he is convicted, and his case is scheduled to go to trial in July. But now with this recent ruling, that could change. This is big, big news and could really be key to this case. Let me bring in our guests. I have with me retired Deputy Inspector with the NYPD, Corey Pegues, and Attorney Tommy Pope, retired SLED agent and former prosecuting attorney in South Carolina. Oh my, we had a guy who stayed put after his 3 sons were shot to death, and police said he confessed. He told us all about what he did, and now the jury is not going to hear any of it. And the reason the judge has found the police really messed this up. I want to get your reactions on that. As 2 people who have served, and we thank you for your service, respectively, in law enforcement. How they bungled this, and now one of the best pieces of evidence against this guy, has gone out of the trial. Yep. Corey.
Sad, despicable, horrifying.
Yep.
This guy allegedly murdered those 3 babies, one of them running out the house from the first shooting.
Right.
And they get to toss all of this information out.
Yep.
This is almost, Tommy agrees, this is like policing 101.
Isn't this horrible?
This is horrible. But again, for me, coming from big city policing, I look at it and say, this is small town policing. Everyone knows the clock stops. They ask for a lawyer, the clock stops. Yep. You read them their Mirandas, if they want to hear them or not. You read them anyway. You just read them all the time. This
we don't like this.
101.
Thank you.
I would love to see, Tommy would agree, who was interviewing him. And when I say that, like, how much time did this person have on the job?
Oh, yeah. We got a clip of the guy doing the interviewing. Let's look at it.
Is it a rookie, Tommy? You understand?
There you go. There you go, everybody.
That's a good question.
Come on.
His last name is Ross. Let's roll that clip now where he's talking about how he thought that defendant Chad Doerman was playing games. Let's take a look.
Come on.
Everybody knows, we trust, except perhaps for the detectives involved, that when a custodial interrogation is underway and the suspect clearly says, I want a lawyer, that isn't the start of a test. That isn't the start of an officer's invitation to a detective to quiz about name, rank, and serial number of a lawyer. That's the time they stop. They stop, get up, and go. That's what they should have done. That happened within about 5 minutes of the interrogation. 45 minutes goes by. He asks again, where's the lawyer? And at that point, he is again ignored. If he had the wherewithal, as the state asserts, to know his situation, to know where he was, to assure officers he posed at no risk, then likewise, he had the wherewithal to clearly say, I want a lawyer, period.
What do you understand you're supposed to do when a suspect who's in custody clearly asks for a lawyer?
If they clearly ask for a lawyer, which I've done on other cases, on other homicide cases, they clearly ask for a lawyer, I stop questioning them.
That's what happened.
I've done before. In this case, he did not clearly say he wanted a lawyer.
But you
This is the
said
guy that botched
you
it.
tried to clarify it with him. That's what you're saying. These questions you asked him about whether he had a lawyer or not were designed to do.
I did try to explore that and clarify his comments, but he continued playing games with me.
Okay, Tommy Puppy saying every other homicide case he knows to stop, but in this one it was gameplay. This were 3 dead kids. He thought, let's not be cautious, let's push, as this guy is unsure of what he wants. Your reaction, please, Tommy.
I think you pointed out the issue. I think, and again, I don't, as Corey said, I don't know this guy's experience. It sounded like he has previous experience. I think the emotion of the horror of this case, of the nature of the deaths of those children, overtook this officer's emotions. In other words, instead of just, you have to be cool under fire, no matter the nature of the case. I've had it in death penalty cases. You can't threaten somebody with the death penalty. And I've had officers that are so angry about the circumstances of the murder that.
I agree, everybody. I think he also thought he had it in the bag. When you watch that first video, you see censor. Yeah. Yeah, the censor was the children. When you see that first video of them coming up on him and he's sitting there on the stairs with that rifle, you assume that he sat there, he did it, and he waited to get arrested. So if you're an officer in there and you saw that guy, he looked like a backwater, I hate to say it, like a backwater detective that has never seen a case of this magnitude, and he thought he had it in the bag. That guy probably was playing games with him, and now he's playing games again. But doesn't matter. It got thrown out. I hope that the video comes in of him sitting on the porch waiting for them to come, because that says a lot. And then they have a bunch of witnesses that actually saw it happen, everybody. We have neighbors that saw him execution style his children. This is what happened yesterday.
They'll, allude to the death penalty and getting it off your chest and all the police tactics, but ultimately they take it too far. My guess is here, this was a horror like that officer had never seen. I can tell you, child deaths are worse than anything we deal with in law enforcement. And I think probably what happened is they tried to gild the lily, because I'm not sure ultimately this is going to change the verdict. You and I've talked before about death penalty cases. You need a solid penalty before you can a solid guilt before you can get to the penalty. I don't think it's going to change it because of the nature of the facts and circumstances. I think he let his emotions overtake him.
Yeah, this is really messed up. I mean, it also makes me wonder if it will have any effect on what the jury finds if the defendant goes for some kind of a mental health related defense. Tommy, I keep thinking with this confession taken out, what kind of statements was he making? Was he in his right mind when he sat down and talked to police? And it's just like that. It's just, like I said, poof, the case just changed in an instant with the judge's ruling. I want to go back to that horrific day where we know that there were a couple 911 calls that were placed. I've got one of them now. Let's take a listen.
Can you tell how many people have been shot?
I think 2 children.
Okay. All right. What was
that I've seen?
There's a girl running down the street saying that her stepfather is killing everyone in her family.
And what did the female say to you?
And she says that her stepfather is killing everybody in her house. I did. I'm on the phone with them right now.
Did you say how or what was happening?
I asked her to get in the car with me, and she said she couldn't leave her family.
Okay, and thank goodness, we still have this evidence, right? The child who survived, the stepdaughter who witnessed this, Corey.
And the video of them walking up on him and him surrendering. So a bunch of other witnesses, mom and daughter too. And so let's keep going. But yeah, this is pretty big news here because it could affect the jury depending on what gets tossed out. So if they only see bits and pieces of it, then who knows?
Your thoughts, please.
That's heart-wrenching. Just imagine that. She says, my stepfather was killing everybody in the house. She offered to for her to get in a car, and the girl was like, I can't leave my family. That's heart-wrenching. That's going to really move the jury. Let me get back to what Tommy said, though. Spot on. Police officers got to keep their emotions out of the interrogation. Just do your job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, and I'm sure it is so hard. I could never do the job that you both have done. Never could. Have the utmost respect for everyone, all of the men and women who serve in law enforcement. I say all the time, it's the toughest job in the world. I will say this, though, and I can speak from the experience of someone who was an ADA. When your police bungle something on a case and you're left to deal with their mess, it is aggravating. And when you think about, right, like when you mess up the Miranda warnings, like something that, I mean, like kids in grade school know the Miranda warnings, don't they, Corey? I mean, this is really
You have the right
bad.
to remain
Listen to what
silent.
the
Anything
detective
you
said,
say
Tommy.
can and fucking will be
I
used
wasn't
against
clear
you,
on what he was saying.
motherfucker.
That right there. Even if you're not clear, stop. If you even think that they alluded to a lawyer, stop.
Exactly.
And where was, like, I know when we do investigations or we're interrogating, there's usually a boss outside.
That was another thing too, and I jumped ahead because I had a whole speech for everybody about the two things. One was the Miranda rights they fucked up on, and two was actually getting him a lawyer. So they did not say parts of the Miranda rights. Everybody can say the Miranda rights, like the Pledge of Allegiance, right? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to attorney. If you deny that right, you will be blah 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 blah. I'm not a cop, but they missed parts of it, and they have that on tape that they did. So those were the two things: Miranda rights that they missed parts of, and the getting him a lawyer. That is so fucked up.
Side or nearby, Tommy, watching this interrogation. It's a triple homicide. There's nobody else to tell him, hey, Joey.
Great point.
Stop.
Great point.
Small town policing. I promise you that.
Yeah. Tommy, your thoughts on this? I saw you nodding as Corey was speaking.
Well, I was thinking what Corey said. You normally have a partner. I always, even if I tried a case, even if I was the senior prosecutor, I'd have one of my new folks, somebody that's outside the bubble of what's going on, because there's been times that I let my emotions get the best of me in the courtroom, and I might accidentally open a door on something we got ruled out. I remember I got frustrated with the psychology, and I said, well, why would she say that? Which is the dumbest question, you could ever ask, an open-ended question. And my my co-counsel dropped a book on the floor to snap me out of it, to make me go back to the table to get me there. So that's what you want. It's almost somebody saved me from myself. And I think this officer could have used some of that.
Right. No, I appreciate you sharing that story, Tommy, because you're right. That's what a great trial partner is going to do. What a great, police partner is going to do. Stop you when they can see something you can't. And if this guy was either inexperienced, emotional, in his head, whatever the issue was.
I'll show you. Sorry about that.
Interview properly. I have no idea. This stinks that this confession.
A little bit of technical difficulties, but we're gonna stop sharing that one, and you guys got the point of that. Let's I've got a new setup going. It's black right now, so I can't see anybody. You can't see me. This is the second time this has happened, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this. All right. So 2 days in a row this happened. Is okay. I'm back, everybody. Second day in a row. I'm gonna have to bring another computer in here. But you guys saw that. Everybody is like, this is unbelievable. I'm back. I know you can hear me now. And guess what? This guy better be on our side, okay? Dr. G, we're gonna bring him in and see what he says. He better not give Chad Doerman any excuses, okay? Because this was already, he got a pass. Right there, he got a pass with the technicalities of the Miranda rights and the confession. So that would have just sealed the deal, and they were looking for a death penalty case. Without that, who knows if that will happen. So let's see what this guy says.
Dr. G here. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist and body language expert, and today we're going to be analyzing Chad Doerman. Chad Doerman was recently arrested for the murder of his 3 children. He's since pled not guilty despite admitting to the murders and also admitting to planning the murders from what has been reported. What we're going to be looking at today is various segments of his body language. We're going to look at the body cam footage as well as him in court. Before we get started, I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, let's go. So there's a lot that we don't know about Chad Doerman at this point, but from what we know, he was arrested previously for domestic abuse, which is going to work against him for sure. There's also been reports from his father that he quote unquote snapped, that he believes that's what happened from what I have read. There's still a lot of information for us to find out, but let's see what we can glean, what information we can better understand about him by watching some of his footage. Let's jump right into this body cam footage from the day of his arrest. All right, so there he is sitting on the stoop of his doorstep. There's a gun right next to him. Obviously, police officers would be very uncomfortable and agitated in a situation like this when someone has a gun. Fortunately, he's not holding it. But obviously, this could be escalated to a really bad place very quickly. Strangely enough, considering that he just murdered 3 people, he's sitting very calmly and very still. So let's get more of an idea of what he's like as it approaches. If you've already seen this, you'll know that his behavior is a bit peculiar.
And look at the gun.
So I think anybody watching this immediately would react to the fact that he was just sitting there waiting for the police when they got there. He wasn't holding his gun. He didn't really say anything. Right now, he seemed to be maybe resisting a tiny bit, but not much. Essentially, he's just letting himself get arrested. Let's keep watching.
That's the shooter. He's not complying. They need to take care of the victim. They have to shoot him and shoot him. Man, I ain't trying to hurt nobody. We're completely sober. Never did drugs a day in my life. 21. Get the EMS over here.
All right. I believe you could just hear him talking. I'm going to try to tell you what he said. It's a little bit hard to understand.
I got the victim. They have to shoot him and shoot him. Man, I ain't trying to hurt nobody.
He just said, I didn't try to hurt nobody, I think.
I'm completely sober.
I think.
Completely sober.
63.
I never did drugs a day in my life.
21. Get the EMS on. Get the EMS over here. Well, I did drugs when I was little, but I don't.
Well, I did drugs when I was little, but
I do drugs now.
I never did drugs now. Okay, so he's obviously has an awareness of the situation he's in. He clearly would understand to some degree how strange it is if he's telling them, I've never done drugs, I'm sober, and all of those things. So there's a very peculiar quality about this. Once again, I've worked a lot with folks on substances and folks that have substance abuse issues. So just because somebody says, I'm sober, I'm not using substances, doesn't necessarily mean that's true. That also doesn't mean that he has used substances right now. I'm not suggesting that he has, but I'm just letting you know what he's saying. I'm not saying that that means that what he's saying is in fact truthful or correct.
I'm sober. I'm not trying to fight you.
He seemed
So, I'm not
drunk.
trying to fight
He
you.
seemed drunk to me, though. I don't know.
63.
Guess
Get your
not.
butt inside.
Who knows?
Yell.
And he's yelling at the dog now, which I guess because he doesn't want the dogs to bother the police, he's yelling at the dog to go inside.
Get your butt inside. We on primary? Now. 29. We got 3 keys down.
I didn't realize that was
And what a horrifying situation this is. The children are in the front yard, or at least one of the children is, and that's blacked out right now. So the bizarreness of this situation cannot be overstated.
What are you doing, man? Hey, are you copying all this? Can I roll over? I ain't.
The level of casualness about this is remarkable. Even if he had some sort of break, even if he was psychotic, like the level of calmness here is shocking. He seems so detached from what's going on, but at the same time, he is showing an awareness of what's happening. He is showing awareness that these are police. He's interacting with them, making sure that he's telling them, I'm sober, I'm not on drugs, and all of these things. So it's a very peculiar situation.
I'm gonna hurt you. I ain't gonna hurt nobody. You got anything on you? No, I ain't got nothing, man. Phone, that's it. I ain't mad. I ain't nothing. That dog don't come out. I don't think he'll bite you. Just don't reach for him and try to grab him and pet him. He won't bite you.
Right. And so right now, in a very plain way, he's telling him to watch for the dogs, not to let the dog bite him or that the dog might hurt him, or any of that stuff. Point being is that he's trying to portray himself as someone who's not going to be violent. He's trying to show him that he cares about the police officer's well-being. Once again, this is incredibly strange. You know, we've seen people that murder and that commit these kinds of atrocities, and then they try to cover it up and they try to hide it. The question is, what was the motive in this situation? We're going to get more to that in terms of what we know now, but this continues to be perplexing from any psychological standpoint, whether it's somebody that's a psychopath or whether it's somebody that's on substances or it's somebody that is psychotic. The whole thing is quite strange.
What's going on, man?
Yeah, I think Dr. G is doing really good surface level. And if I can get more on him and we could do another video today, I noticed the quick videos go well. People want to see them. They want to see the quick updates, watch through it and get to the next thing. So that's what we're going to do today is get through this and move on with our day. So let's keep going.
Can I stand up? It's kind of uncomfortable.
I'm going to get you here in a second.
I ain't running away. You can do whatever you want with me.
And so one thing that we do see with his body language is that his body language is consistent with what he's saying. He doesn't seem disorganized in the sense of somebody who is floridly psychotic. They can be disorganized to the point where there's things that we see that don't make sense. They may say things that don't make any sense. Right now, he is coherent. He's connecting. That doesn't mean that he doesn't have some psychotic process going on, but he's not demonstrating some sort of psychosis that would make you think he doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. And that's one of the hurdles that they're going to have to overcome, I would think, in court. Because in Ohio, where this happened, I do believe that not guilty by reason of insanity is a legitimate defense there. And I can only assume that that's the only possible defense, I would think, at this point, considering he's admitted to doing it. His wife observed him do it. Like,
Dr.
there's
G,
no question whether or not he murdered these children.
It got
The
thrown
question
out.
is, what would be a defense for that?
Right.
Can I stand up? It's kind of uncomfortable.
I'm going to get you here in a second.
I ain't running away. You can do whatever you want with me.
Now, I've worked with people that were psychotic before. I've worked with people in the midst of being psychotic, and they don't always come across as disorganized and not making sense. The most important part to consider when it comes to what is going on, if you're thinking about whether or not he is psychotic, whether or not he's detached from reality, is the fact that people that are psychotic, there are different levels of psychotic process. The cornerstone of psychosis is delusion. So in other words, a fixed false belief. They believe something that is not just untrue, but it is.
Do you guys think he's delusional? I have to interact with you for a second, and I'm wondering what everybody's thinking. So if you hit those, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, check out my new Facebook at Guilty of Crime, and interact. Let's see what you think. Put comments later if you get to watch this later. But I'm wondering what you think. What do you think his defense is going to be? Dr. G makes a point, and he doesn't know that this got thrown out. So he filmed this before that happened. That was breaking news yesterday. Big deal that the confession got thrown out because of the Miranda rights and the asking for a lawyer.
It is completely untethered to reality, and it is impenetrable. You cannot change that belief that they have. So the question is was this an impulsive act that he's just knowing that he's going to get in trouble for, and he's waiting for the police to come arrest him because he just knows that's inevitable? Or is there a part of him that is confused? Is there a part of him that's detached from reality? I'm sure we're going to get more clarity on that. Neighbors have reported, if I understand right, and this is from what I've read, that he was a very angry person, angry every day. So we have to wonder, what does that reflect? What is that level of anger? What is that about? Is that because he's delusional and has strange beliefs about his wife? Did he believe that there was something going on with her and he had planned on taking it out on these 3 children? What matters is not whether or not he has delusions or whether or not his bizarre behavior is explainable by some degree of psychosis. What matters is whether or not he knows the difference between right and wrong.
Absolutely.
And so far,
he
what
does.
we know, and we're going to get into this as we watch some pieces of the hearings he's been through. The difference between right and wrong is a big hurdle to come over. And there's nothing he's doing right now that makes me think this man has no concept of right or wrong.
I'm going to get you here in a second.
I ain't running away. You can do whatever you want with me. Sit down right here. My daughter, she ran over to the fire department.
Sit down.
It's my stepdaughter.
Put him in.
So the interesting thing about his behavior right now, he's continuing to explain what's going on. He has a lot of awareness about what happened. His stepdaughter ran off to the fire department. This is what we oftentimes see in domestic violence situations, is where, and I've talked about this in a video I did on Brian Laundrie, when a perpetrator is confronted by police, when they are in trouble, so to speak, they try to be very easy to get along with. They try to be like, hey guys, everything's fine. They try to act overly natural. This kind of behavior could be a simple manipulation that we see oftentimes with domestic abuse, which is, I'm going to try to be really easy to get along with. There has to be some kind of separation from the reality of what's happened in order to maintain this level of calm. Now we're going to watch a quick minute of him being booked from the local news.
There you go.
This will not be a lot of footage, but I wanted you to see a couple of things that tell us a little bit about what's going on. All right, let's go.
Actions that he had with the deputy while he was waiting to go through the booking process.
Have you ever been here before?
I think one time for fighting with dad.
All right, so one thing that tells us is that he is oriented to where he is. He recognizes he's in a police station. He recognizes the situation. That's significant.
Don't be doing that, man. Don't be beating your head on the wall, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so now, as you see, he just hit his head on a wall. Once again, that goes back to some strange behavior. I don't know what the intention of that was, but it's still peculiar. And that's the kind of stuff that we have to look out for, more peculiar behavior. So now we're going to watch a little bit of his bond hearing. Obviously, this would have been after the murders had occurred, but it was very shortly after this had occurred.
He wants to show his face when he cries. Watch.
So obviously his posture is a little bit peculiar. He's overly upright. The eyes just straight forward, stationary, little expression. His eyes are raised, which we oftentimes associate with surprise, but it wasn't like a spontaneous eye raise. They're just staying there. So I don't think that has so much to do with surprise.
Incomprehensible cruelty, the father that stands before you lined up.
So what we see now is Chad Doerman starting to tear up. And the question is always, is this authentic? Are these real tears? Is this somebody faking it? Let's watch a little bit more, and I'll give you my impressions as we go.
Up his 3 young boys, and he executed them in his own home with a rifle. They were ages 3, 4, and 7, Judge.
Pay attention.
It's so interesting because it seems like he is trying to not react, or else there is something that is disconnected with the way that this man is operating. The fact that he looks more unusual today than he did the day he was arrested, and I think that that's worth noting.
And again, we know from his admission, father hunted that boy down, drug him back to the property, and executed him in front of witnesses.
So you can see what appears to be real emotion right now. So he is upset. He is crying.
But for who?
Based on what is being said right now. Does that mean anything deeply as far as his culpability in terms of what he did?
Of course not.
But it's interesting that he's having a real reaction, because we've seen people try to fake tears or act like they're crying and they can't get any tears to come out. He does genuinely seem upset right now. And also, once again, he almost hasn't moved this whole time. He's just staring straight forward. And I don't think that's an intentional way to try to hide his body language. We see that sometimes where people will try not to move. I don't think that he has that level of awareness right now. I just think his behavior is a bit odd.
Acts of whatever we are misfortunate to see. To make things even more disturbing, Judge, this was no haphazard act. Again, by his own admission, he plunged before this court. Judge, it's important.
So this was a really interesting interaction that we just saw as he was listening to the attorney. This appeared to be real tears. I think this is genuine emotion, but then he's able to rein it in very quickly. And once again, there's an odd disconnect between this man and the rest of the world around him. He seems to be aware of what's going on. He seems to be aware of what he did based on the fact that he's reacting to it. But he also seems oddly disconnected. I just want you to keep paying attention to the way that he presents.
Yes.
Because it's different from the first day to this day. And we're going to keep watching.
Judge, it's important. The prior record goes, Judge, it is fairly minimal. He was charged with domestic violence in 2010. He is not, to my knowledge.
So he was charged with domestic violence in 2010. An important point, I am sure, for both the defense and the prosecution as it moves forward.
On probation committee control. We're going to ask this court to issue a bond we've never asked for before. I'm going to ask for a bond of $20 million.
20 million.
So if you watch closely, he seems to almost have a behavior that looked a little bit tickish. Just watch his face right now.
We've never asked for before. I'm going to ask for a bond of $20 million. No, Judge. This third account.
So this was confusing to me. And if somebody that's watching this can clarify what he's talking about, please do. It sounded like he said something about CCO2. And I don't know what that means. And so the question is he responding to something coherently? Is that just gibberish? I don't know what that's supposed to mean. To me, it just sounds like nonsense, but maybe there is some meaning to it. So whether or not there's meaning to what he's saying would help us interpret whether or not he is disconnected from reality or whether or not he is participating, because it sounded like he's just saying things that don't make any sense. Let's watch that again.
A $20 million cash or surety. Anything else at this time, Mr. Guest?
No, Judge.
Mr. Account. Mr. Account, anything?
And he's looking at them almost like he was talking to them and he might expect a response. So to me, this speaks to the idea that there is something about him that is a little bit bizarre.
Further?
To me, it sounded like, and I have to talk, I know you guys want to watch this and people don't always want to hear me, but it sounded like he said for CCO2. It sounded like he was already looking up the laws and talking to his lawyer, and like maybe he cited something. He was trying to cite a law is what it sounded like to me. So if anybody agrees with me or knows this, it actually sounded like he was trying to remember some law or something he heard from his lawyer. But let's keep watching.
Nothing at this time.
Thank you.
So if that CCO2 thing that he just said is gibberish, then that's really significant. That's something we really have to pay attention to, because what that would mean is that he has some weird disconnect from reality. It would mean that there is some sort of process that is disconnecting him from reality, and maybe there's some stranger things going on.
He's disconnected.
It doesn't mean he doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. It would just mean that there are other factors in play that have to be considered as well. Hopefully this video helps you better somewhat understand this Chad Doerman situation. There's still obviously a lot of unanswered questions, and it's still a little bit confusing as to what the defense is going to be for him to be pleading not guilty. The only sense I can make of it is the idea that they would be suggesting that this is a mental health issue. And what we're seeing based on the footage so far is that there are some peculiar behaviors. Obviously, him staying on the front stoop when the police came, him potentially saying things that don't really make any sense during this hearing. But he also seems to understand what's going on around him. So even if it turns out that there is some sort of mental health issue underlying some of his beliefs, if he was trying to get revenge on her,
I think that's what it was.
He was doing to this to punish her.
Yep.
He knows the difference between right and wrong. And that's the standard that we have to look at, is does he know what he did was wrong? It's very, very hard to imagine, even if he is disconnected from reality to an extent, that is in fact true. And what we're seeing here is he is able to respond. He does have some awareness of what's going on around him. There may be some confusion, there may be some strange behavior, but that doesn't mean he doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. Last thing before we get finished up, I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, thanks for watching.
Everybody like and subscribe to Dr. G as well. I love listening to him. He's very light. He's not like the behavior panelists that get all heated and mad and start getting upset. And I like different perspectives. You know, I have that feeling of getting mad and upset and heated about this too. And more children being murdered again. And how many more do we need? I mean, we have Madeline Soto. We're working on Elijah Vu. We did the Lori Vallow with the kids. We're doing Chad Doerman. Come on, people. What's going on? And I only focus on the cases that like really hit me hard, and I'm enthralled in them. I don't just pick these cases up and think, oh, I'm gonna just do this because there's kids, but there's just so many of them, and it hurts my heart when I hear this, because it wasn't easy for me to have 2 kids, and I have them and I love them and I cherish them. So this is awful. I see more people coming on here, so I'm gonna go for a little bit more and show you that he pled not guilty after all of this. And this was obviously before they did the whole deal. Oh, it's very loud, so I'll lower it. But this was before the charges or the confessions got dropped. So you guys are still with me. Let's keep watching. So I'm here for you, and let's go. Hold on real quick. You're going to see this. Sorry about that. I'll get it together one day, I promise. All right, we're going to stop the other screen. And yeah, I'm still new at this, everybody that knows me. We still got day one people here. And after a while, the day one will still be the day one, but we're going to have a whole bunch more. Yesterday, my video got a lot of attention and shares, which is what I wanted because I want to bring justice for Madeline Soto in every way that we can. So that's what I want to do. That's what I'm here for. And if I can help with that, sitting behind a desk in this chair, then that's what I'm going to do.
To the killings of his three boys, ages 3, 4, and 7. Now in court, the judge asked Doerman if he understood all the charges against him, and he calmly answered, "Yes, Your Honor." Also during the hearing, prosecutors revealed disturbing new details as to how the shootings unfolded, saying this: the middle-aged son was shot twice inside the family home before the oldest boy was shot from behind outside the home while trying to run away. He was then shot 2 more times. Prosecutors also claim Doerman ripped the youngest child from his mother's arms and shot him in the head. The Claremont County prosecutor said his goal is to have Doerman executed.
First and foremost, I want to start out by expressing the deepest sympathy I have for his family, for this unspeakable tragedy. We do have, I can't go into a whole lot of facts, all right, because this is a death penalty case, and my goal is to have this man executed for slaughtering these 3 little boys. It is, let me try to figure out a way to put this. It is an incomprehensible act of horror if you perpetrate it on this family. So again, that is my most important focus right now, is to ensure that they're protected and they're safe. And my hope and wish and prayer is that someday we will be able to find peace. But factually, I've said what I said on the record, and I'm going to stick with that, all right?
Why was it, with how complicated the death penalty is in Ohio right now, and how much extra work it adds to your office, why was it important for you to seek that?
Ohio is also Chad and Lori, I don't know, Vallow, Daba, whatever. So we've got a lot going on over there. Or is it? No, that's Idaho. I'm sorry. Sorry. Someone corrected me last video. I said something wrong. But yeah, that's different. Ohio and Idaho. I always get those confused. You know, those backwater places. Sorry, y'all.
I'll let the facts speak for themselves. He slaughtered his 3 children in the most brutal fashion you can imagine, as I mentioned in court. The extra work is no extra work at all. It's what we do. This merits our attention, our devotion, and our effort.
Thoughts on that initial not guilty plea?
That has to be done.
Now, the 32-year-old was initially charged with 3 counts of aggravated murder, but a grand jury returned a 21-count indictment, including 9 counts of aggravated murder, 8 counts of kidnapping, and 4 counts of felonious assault. Each murder count, carries the death penalty, and a pretrial hearing has been set for July 5th. We have also learned that the funeral for the boys will be held on Monday. And when police arrived on the shooting scene, Doerman was very calm, and you can hear the boy's mother in the background. This is Officer Bodycam, and this is footage of his arrest.
All right, guys, we watched this. Do you want to watch it again for the people that came in real quick? Yes or no? All right, if you're here for it, let's do it. It's quick. You actually see them as they're approaching before, and so you can hear what they're talking about. If you don't want to, go ahead and drop off. If not, let's finish this, and then we'll get to the rest of our day.
Where's he at? Here.
Shooter's down the porch.
Get him right here. You got him on the porch.
We've asked, that's the last place we've been told.
You show me your hands now!
More time, y'all.
Stand up and walk towards us! Stand up now! Walk towards us! Stand up with your hands up!
We got a visual in the mail. Not showing his hands and not following commands.
Stand up now!
Not showing hands or following commands. His name is Chad Doerman. Chad Doerman.
I know, but we can't.
If people need first aid and he's not complying, you know he's a shooter, shoot him.
Show us your.
Sometimes with me, I'll watch things over and over that I didn't catch the first time, and I catch the details later. So I'm one of those people that will watch the same movie like 10 times when I absolutely am entranced with it, and I got to see every little detail. So if you're there, then watch it.
Your hands now. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up now. Stand up. Stand up.
The stage and air carrier is going to go ahead and fly whenever any unit's going to die.
Get your hands out of here. Come on, 21. Send there.
There's confirmed that there's people that need first aid, and that's the shooter who's not complying. They need to take care of the victims. They have to shoot him and shoot him.
Man, I ain't trying to hurt nobody. I'm completely sober.
Actually, 63, we're 21. Get the EMS over here.
Well, I did drugs with a clip, but I don't do drugs now. I'm sober. I'm not trying to put you.
63.
Get your butt inside. Gatlin, get your butt inside.
We on primary?
Now.
29, we got 3 kids down.
3 kids down, 16 up.
Gatlin.
63, we're 21. Have EMS respond over here.
You're clear, they're being advised.
That's so sad, everybody. That square right there, the 3 kids that were executed all in one spot. And you can see he just took them all out. Bam, bam, bam. And I'm pretty sure the motive was, everybody, just so you know, it was to get back at the mom. He was already arrested for domestic violence and they were fighting. She probably said she was going to leave him. I'm out of here. I'm taking the kids. And he just snapped. So that's going to be probably his only defense.
63, do you want him to respond to the...
Actually, that's not even a defense if he says he's not guilty. So I don't know. We're going to follow this case.
Laurel Lindale address? Where exactly do you need him?
We're right in the front yard.
He took my life from me. My life.
What are you doing, man?
Hey, pretty copy all this.
Gotta roll over. I ain't gonna hurt you. I ain't gonna hurt nobody.
You got anything on you?
No, I ain't got nothing, man. Phone, that's it. I ain't mad. I ain't nothing. Just make sure that dog don't come out. I don't think he'll bite you. Just don't reach for him and try to grab him and pet him. He won't bite you.
What's going on, man?
Nothing. Can I stand up? It's kind of uncomfortable.
I'm gonna get
I ain't
you
gonna do
here.
that. I ain't running away. You can do whatever you want.
I have no idea.
The wailing of the mother in the background is just haunting. And his reaction, he just seems like it's a regular day in the park. They're picking up for, I don't know, littering. Mind-boggling. Still with me. Criminal defense attorneys, former prosecutors, Marie Pereira, Franz Borghardt. Marie, I'll start with you. Let's start with the video. We'll get to the decision to seek the death.
Now, I know we played this a lot and we're analyzing it every which way, and I love to do that, and I'm glad that you guys are here to do that with me because we get to really see what's happening, and then we can move on to the next stages of the case. You know what's happening, you've seen it happen, and you're like, what is going on and how can this man move forward as he does? So we don't have a lot longer, but stay in there, and then I'll say my end piece. And yeah, thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, and share this, please.
Death penalty.
Thank you.
What did you make of that video? I mean, I thought maybe there might be a sense, and Franz and I were talking, it might be a suicide by cop situation. He wasn't following orders, but he had every opportunity as they approached. The gun was sitting right next to him. If he didn't want to be alive, he certainly could have orchestrated that situation into his suicide by cop situation.
I really want to believe that this man is mentally ill for committing this filicide. You know,
I don't think so.
it's so sad. We educate our children against stranger danger, not against their father executing them. And for
Right.
me, it seems like this was all about spousal revenge.
There you go.
He's not acutely ill. There's no psychosis, at least so far we don't see it. He's calm. He's telling them, you know, about the dog. I'm not going to hurt you.
Exactly.
I can't wrap my head around his calm attitude, his demeanor. And this, to me, like I said, seems like spousal revenge against his wife. You hear her saying, he took my whole life from me in the screaming.
Exactly.
Yeah. And he shot just the boys, Franz. There is a girl, a stepdaughter. I guess the boys are his progeny, his children. He only shot them. He ended up shooting the mother only because she was trying to protect her child. Right. So that's odd. But they've made the decision clearly to choose a death penalty. Not a surprise.
I would say not a surprise at all. You have all the right ingredients, all the right aggravating circumstances, the multiple victims, the nature of the killing. You have all of that, which you need to get to a death penalty, right? Determining whether or not to pursue the death penalty or not as a prosecutor is oftentimes a difficult thing, except in cases like this. In cases like this, it seems very straightforward and very easy. Everything else, all the other charges, that's garnish, right? What we care about, the papaya of the situation is, what we want to sink our teeth into is the capital case. That's going to be possibly a death penalty. Everything else is just kind of lanyard, extra.
Yeah, and saying it, I think, just gives the public some sense of, we're taking this seriously, moving forward with this thing. It's just important just to say the words. But Marie, practically, as a former prosecutor, what does it mean when you do make that decision? Does it change your approach to a case? How does it change the way you go about your business as a prosecutor?
Sorry, Jackie.
I don't think it changes the way, but you do have to focus on the aggravating factors. And they're all here. This is heinous. He was in a position of trust. Those kids, that was their whole daddy. They were vulnerable. They were helpless. It was unprovoked. All the aggravating factors are there. So you're going to want to methodically go through all of them, because at the end of the day, you have to get 8 people at the end to agree with your point of view when it comes to sentencing. So you approach it that way, proving every aggravating circumstance and down talking any mitigators through testimony that you intend to present for your case.
And Franz, for the defense, it all becomes all about keeping your client alive.
I absolutely agree. This is not a whodunit. This is not a guilt case. This will be already some indigent defender is representing this guy or entity, and they are working on mitigation as we speak. I'm telling you, that's happening behind the scenes right now. And it's all about rescue diving, saving this guy, saving his life. And this one's going to be a tough one. This is really going to be a tough one.
And you talked yesterday a little bit about that, the fact that they chose to go with a not guilty verdict doesn't mean anything. Early on, you want to give yourself time to really look into what's going on here as you begin to prepare your case as a defense attorney. So we'll be watching this one very.
I have to tell you, so we're wrapping this up. We saw everything. We saw it multiple times. That's kind of how my brain works when I'm putting a story together. I like to see things over and over so it sticks in my head what's really happening. I can cogitate on it and really understand the gravity of a situation, or whether it's a good situation and I want to relive it and know everything about it. So, we watched this. You saw the charges. I could have came on here and just told you that the confession was thrown out of court and the 2 reasons why, one being that the Miranda rights weren't properly read, and 2 being that they didn't give him a lawyer when he asked for it. But I like to share my thoughts with everybody, and I like to interact with you all. And I said backwater towns, Ohio, Idaho. That's my joke around here. I am in Silicon Valley, and I get a lot of people that move from places like that, Idaho, Iowa, Wisconsin, whatever. And I always say backwater towns just because I'm being silly. People, when I leave from California and I go to those states, people say, you're from California. You guys think you're so good, so far. So just kidding with y'all. I really just want to bring, light to a situation that's really not such a good situation. And our kids, what's happening with our kids? Why are people able to have them so freely and then do such heinous things with them? There's people like myself that it took a lot of money and a lot of work to have my two kids. I couldn't just like roll over and have them and then keep having them. So that being said, people, take care of your kids, take care of other people's kids if they're not doing it. I always have the neighbors over. They have so many people next door that I tell the kids come over, I feed them, I'm kind to them. I try to be kind to people, and I think if you're kind to people, the best outcome will come. But I am very mad at this case, and this guy is just like Chris Watts. He's a family annihilator, and we can do a whole show on family annihilators. We can do a whole series on family annihilators because there's so many of them that I can tell you the first one in history where they even got the name of family annihilator and how that all began and who family annihilators are. If you guys like that stuff, please like, subscribe, get me in the algorithm, set all the notification buttons, please. Yesterday was a really good day for that. I got into the algorithms. People are listening to what I have to say. And what I have to say is important. I don't want to just sit there and gossip about people and speculate. I want real news and I want you all to know what's happening. So, yes, please support my channel. Right now, I'm funding everything. So, when something glitches out and I'm sitting there thinking, I need a new computer and I need faster this and I just got a green screen and I have a lot of stuff going on, everybody, but I still want to be here with you doing this. And I'm not even asking for money. That would be great. I got Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all that. That will come later on, I'm sure. But right now, I just want your support, your love, anything you could do. Tell people, share, and give me cases. Give me cases. And yeah, we can do a family annihilator series, and you guys, we can do a series with episodes. As soon as I'm done with my serial killer top 10, I will do family annihilators, and you'll see that the history of family annihilators. And it's not boring when I say history, it's actually a lot cooler than it sounds. So a family annihilator came from a particular person, and I'm not even going to tell you who, but you guys probably know. He took out his whole family, and then Genergy, he took out his whole family and he left the bodies in the house and he walked away. No DNA was found. He went and lived his life and got caught like 30 years later. What's up, Bud Bundy? First family, a hive. We got the crime crew here, everybody. We are the crime crew. Everybody that's in chat is the crime crew. And at some point, we're gonna get some swag, everybody. We're gonna get some t-shirts and some things that you can get. I'm definitely gonna do a day one guilty of crime crew sweatshirt, hoodie, things like that. So as we grow, I'm going to do that. You can see I'm not hurting here. You can see all my stuff in the background. So I'm not here begging for money. I just want to bring these cases to you and have the right equipment to do so without interruption, without blacking out. But I hope you guys all like this today. Not the case, but you like that I was able to bring you what happened in court. And Bud Bundy from Austin, Texas. I love the name. Trucker hats. I'm down with that. I love trucker hats. I've got like 17 of them in my room that just collapse, and I'm going to be able to get new ones because, well, that's a whole other story. But trucker hats are my favorite. I love the ones that are not the snapback ones. I like the snapbacks, not the ones that you can't fit on your head. So whatever you guys want, I'll do it. I don't know which post that's written and where. Jackie, good to see you, Jackie Ennis, by the way. Yeah, 303 more subs until we hit 1,000K. So please share, get me in the algorithm, send me emails with cases. I'll answer you back. I'll do what cases you want. I'll bring quick episodes. If you guys want quick episodes, tell me. I just want 30 minutes to go, and tell me if you want longer, you want shorter. I'm taking all the feedback. So, I'm doing my thing and I'm doing it with you, and you all are making me do this, and you're making it happen. And I hope you're taking it seriously too. And I hope that everybody that comes here is looking for real news, but also real people's thoughts and people's energy, people's vibes, people's body behavior, and how people's minds work. Because crime is not just a cut and dry thing, and neither is the justice system. The justice system is cross your T's and dot your I's. Because if you don't, that's what happens, is what happened today or yesterday. I'm bringing this to you today, but what happened yesterday was an injustice in itself. The fact that that his confession got thrown out of court. And you know what? He is a selfish son of a bitch for doing that, even going to trial. I could say at least Chris Watts, he didn't go to trial, and it saved the family from seeing the bodies and having to see the sludge drip off of the bodies, the little girls that he put in the oil tank. They're going to go to trial, and guess what? They're going to have to see those boys, the pictures taken from when they were on the ground, execution style, with that rifle. That's a large caliber rifle, y'all. When you say rifle, that's going to tear something up. So guess what? You have to really, you have to see all that stuff in court. And instead of him just saying, I did wrong, even if you don't have to say I did wrong, but just take a freaking plea deal. You probably won't get the death penalty if you took a plea deal, but we won't have to see all the pictures. They're not going to get out in court, and the family won't have to go through it. So yeah. And yeah, we can do longer streams and deep dives too. There's certain days that I can and certain days that I can't, but that's why I'll come back with part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, part 10. I don't care. As long as you guys keep me going. Carly's kind of like, she's the manager of, she manages a lot of channels. Actually, I'm not going to say any, but she's not really a manager, but she kind of keeps me on track with the cases and telling me about stuff. So I really appreciate you, Carly, keeping me motivated and not just talking to myself, and really hyping things up and telling me about the news and just giving me feedback. Because without you, it'd be really hard to do what I do. So I really do appreciate you a lot, more than you know. And as I go, I'll show you that support. Being a moderator, I'm going to set things up for you. So I hope that we can get to that. I like the buy a coffee thing for the moderators. I like all those things that the big channels have, and I'd love to have that for people helping me out. I got your back, everybody. And you all should have everybody else's back too. It's not about bringing somebody down. It's about lifting them up. If you lift people up, they're going to lift you up, and you're going to be lifted up. And then it's just an effect. So although we're talking true crime, I know you want to hear the gory details. I want my outro to you to tell you I love each and every single one of you. I'm here for the long haul. Please like, subscribe, share, all the things, and keep supporting me. And I'll be back with something else. I don't know what yet, but there's true crime every day, all day, every minute, every second of the day. And there's plenty of content to bring you. So with that being said, I love every one of you. Thank you so much. And please watch my outro, like, subscribe, follow this case, and I will keep you posted. All right? Have a good night. And good night from California. It's 5:39 here. Goodbye.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?